Reproductive health. Let's start the chapter, reproductive health, which is a small chapter but with a huge weightage in the form of Neet examination. So let's start here. The reproductive health, the first we go with the problems and strategies. And reproductive health, the problems and strategies. Reproductive health means a total well-being in all aspects of reproduction. That we define reproductive health as a total well-being in all aspects of reproduction. That means physical, mental, physiological. That what is a mental, nothing but psychological. Well-being is said to be as the reproductive health. Health means here the reproductive health means we have a wide meaning that the physical well-being, psychological well-being that we define in the coming times. So let's continue the topic. India initiated a reproductive health program, the family planning in 1951. In 1951, India initiated the family planning program, which is related to the reproductive health, reproductive and child health care, that RCH programs, we used to say that they are to aware people about reproduction related aspects, that to create a reproductively healthy society. So the aims and needs of the sex education in schools, that is to provide right information about the sex related aspects, to avoid sex related myths and misconceptions, the proper information about reproductive organs, adolescence, and related changes, the safe and hygienic sexual practices, and about the information about the sexual transmitted diseases like AIDS, hepatitis, all the things that are said to be the aims and needs of the sex education in the schools. So to provide the right information about sex related aspects, to avoid sex related myths and conceptions, the proper information about the reproductive organs, adolescence, and the related changes during adolescence, the safe and hygienic sexual practices, and the sexually transmitted diseases, the various type, the sexually transmitted diseases are there that we have to learn in the awareness as the reproductive health chapter is a part of the program of awareness, giving such information, whatever we said now. So that first of all, in that the population explosion and birth control. Let's take a look on population explosion and the birth control. The population explosion and birth control. In 1900, the world population was around 2 billion. That means 2000 million. By 2000, it was rocketed to about 6 billion. 2 billion to 6 billion. It was increased. Then in India, the population was nearly 350 million during independence, 1947. Then it crossed 1 billion in May 2000. According to the May 2000 census, it reached to 1 billion. It means every sixth person in the world is an Indian. According to the 2001 census, the population growth rate was still around 1.7%. This is going to be the question for us. 1.7%. That means 17 per thousand per year. Then a rate at which our population could double in 33 years. For every 33 years, at this rate, if a population will grow on, that within 33 years, it will get double again. So what is the reason for the population explosion? We have seen explosion, that how the explosion is happening all over the world as well as in India. Then what is the reason? Reason for the population explosion? Increased health facilities and better living conditions. So as the technological advancement, that health facilities are increased and better living conditions, A rapid decline. All these things will come in the form of statement questions for us. So let's try to focus. A rapid decline in the death rate and maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate. A rapid decline in death rate, maternal mortality rate, and infant mortality rate. The increase in the number of people in reproducible age. These are all the reasons for the explosion of the population. Why population is increasing means by increasing the health facilities and better living condition, rapid decline, decrease in the death rate, and maternal mortality rate, infant mortality rate. Due to the technological advancement, the hospitals are much increased and facilities are much increased there. So, what is the impact of this population explosion? The scarcity of basic requirement, the food, shelter, and clothing. If you remember that what we learned in evolution, the the food sources are going to be increases that arithmetically like this. The food is that population is increasing geometrically 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Likewise, it will go on, but the food sources won't increase like that. Like food sources are increasing arithmetically, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Likewise, it will increase. This is the increase of food sources. This is the increase of population. So what happens? For the food, for the shelter, for the clothing, the scarcity will come. The scarcity will come for that. So that is going to be the very the impact on the explosion, population explosion results to the demand of food, demand the clothing and everything in every aspect, that shelter, food, and the maid, various aspects, that particular impact is going on. The motivate, what is the control measures we have to take over? We have seen now the population explosion and reasons for the population explosion, impact on the population explosion on the world, and now what we have to do, that control measures. We have to motivate the smaller families by using contraceptive methods, promoting smaller families, as our government did, that awareing people about a slogan, "Hum do, hamare do, we too, our too." Nowadays it became one child now. The many couples have adapted a single child now. That older days you may have seen over that the more and more children, the 4, 5, 6, our elders, that our grandparents used to say here, we are seventh out of 14 children, likewise, isn't it? So, but nowadays, because of the awareness created by the government, that hum do, hamare do, we too, our too. Many couples now have adopted a one child now. The statutory raising of marriageable age of the female to 18 years and males to the 21 years. That was also one of the control measure here to stop the population explosion. Then we said about the promoting the contraceptive methods. So then now we have to see about the contraceptives here, that one after another will go with that diseases, contraceptive techniques, and the issue wise we have to take over in reproductive health. Now we are taken the bigger part. Mostly we can expect a question from here. The contraceptive techniques is going to be very important. Till the time whatever we learn, that is introduction. So let's focus from here. Then what are the properties of ideal the contraceptive? This is going to be a statement question for us. Statement question. A contraceptive technique should be user friendly, easily available, effective, and reversible. That means when they want children, the particular technique should be reversible. No or least side effects. It should not interfere the sexual drive, desire, and or the sexual act of the user. The ideal contraceptive should be user friendly, easily available, effective, reversible, no or least side effects, and it should not interfere the sexual drive, desire, and or the sexual act of the user. So let's take a look on the various types of contraceptive methods. These are the basic the contraceptive methods here. The natural or traditional method. Number 2, barriers. Number 3, intrauterine devices. Number 4, oral contraceptives. 5, injectables. The surgical method, sterilization. Okay, make it them as an option here. That in that the various techniques are there. So most of the times the question will come like this. So what is it? Either it is a natural method or a barrier or intrauterine device. Likewise, the questions will be asked. So just these headings and their subheadings are going to be play a vital role. We have a mind map after the completion of the topic. I'll present the mind map and I'll send the mind map to you also. That means at one place all you can see that easily. Okay, so let's enter into the chapter contraceptive methods. In that, natural or traditional methods, barriers, intrauterine devices, oral contraceptives, injectables, and surgical methods like sterilization. Let's talk about the natural or traditional methods. In that, we have three: periodic abstinence, withdrawal or coitus interruptus, lactational amenorrhea. Okay, so the natural or traditional method in that periodic abstinence with our previous knowledge, we know in the mid of the menstrual cycle that the ovulation is going to happen in the mid of the menstrual cycle. That means nearly on the 14th day, we said over that menstrual cycle. Then the 14th day, the secondary oocyte will wait over, isn't it? So, making that knowledge in mind, we need to learn this that periodic abstinence, avoiding coitus from day 10 to 17. That means that 10 to 17 day, that if coitus, copulation, ejaculation of the semen is not happens in that period, because that period is a fertile period. So if won't happen in that period, we can prevent the pregnancy. We can prevent the conception. Okay. So that is periodic abstinence. The what do we remember over? Periodic. That means period. That means we are talking about the menstrual cycle. Abstinence. That means we have to stop. Where? In which days? 10 to 17. Why? Why we know that we have an idea on menstrual cycle. Nearly on the 14th day, ovulation is happening. So during the time of ovulation, which we call fertile period, that if the coitus is avoided, if the copulation mating is avoided, that we can prevent the conception. And next, the second method, withdrawal or coitus interruptus. Coitus means copulation. Interruptus, that means interrupting, stopping. When? During the ejaculation, before the ejaculation, withdraw the penis from the vagina just before ejaculation to avoid insemination. To avoid insemination, we know what is insemination. That's the release of seminal fluid into the vagina of the female. So that is one of the technique here, withdrawal or coitus interruptus. Next, lactational amenorrhea. As we said, after the 9 months of the gestation, then parturition occurs. That the child is the milk, the breastfeeding of the child is done by the mother. So ovulation and the cycle do not occur during the period of lactation. As long as the mother is feeding the child with milk, in general, they used to say there is no menstrual cycle for the mother after giving birth to the newborn baby. As long as she fed the milk, in general, used to say, but it's a maximum. We can say 6 months. 6 months is going to be 6 months of the following for parturition. There is no any the menstrual cycle. That means there is no any release of secondary oocyte. Okay, so that's what they said it in the form of lactational amenorrhea. Lactational, that means milk, that feeding, the breastfeeding of the child during that period of time. Mother, there is no menstrual cycle in the mother. That means there is no ovulation. Okay, so that you can remember with the based on the names, isn't it? Periodic abstinence. That means at that period, that means which period? The 14th day, mid cycle. That means between 10 to 17 days, avoiding coitus can help the contraception. Withdrawal. Before ejaculation, withdrawing the penis back out from the vagina. lactational amenorrhea. The feeding, as long as the child is fed with milk by the mother, that mother menstrual cycle is going to be stopped over. That is at least for 6 months of the following parturition. Chances of failure of this method are high. Actually, all the methods we said over, their failure is risk is going to be much high. Why? Because there are so many problems. That means here in case periodic abstinence, we said 28 days is a as a general calculation, we said it as a 28 days is a menstrual cycle. In that, we said 14th day, that particular ovulation is going to happen. But it is very rare to be in case of female. I'm saying 28 days is going to be rare. That means in case some people 30 days, some people 35 days, 40 days, 50 days, based on the nutrition, based on the pollution, based on the circumstances where they are living, stress, anxiety. So because of that, so many reasons. Imagine if it is 40 days a menstrual cycle is happening in a female, is it possible to locate the 10 to 17 in them? Because in the mid-cycle, if it is 28 days, it is going to be on 14th day, isn't it? So that's why we can't say all these are the promising techniques. It cannot be the promising techniques. That natural method, periodic abstinence, withdrawal or coitus interruptus, and lactational amenorrhea. In compare with the coming techniques, that these are not the promising techniques. No matter, you need to remember these three headings. Natural method. So question will be asked like that. Coitus interruptus is. Coitus interruptus is. So options will be that, as I said earlier to you, options will be, these are the options. Either it is a natural method or a barrier or intrauterine device or a oral contraceptive. You have to recognize coitus interruptus is. Imagine these are the four options. So you have to select, that is natural method. So that means in this area, heading with their subheading is very important. Okay, so that's why I asked you to remember that heading. That's why after the completion of this, we'll go to the mind map, and that I'll show how to remember all these things. Okay, the second contraceptive method we came through, that is barrier. In this, ovum and sperms are prevented from physically meeting with the help of barriers. In this, ovum and sperms are prevented physically meeting with the help of barriers. So what are the barriers? The condoms are the barriers. That condoms which are made up of thin rubber or latex sheet that are used to cover the penis in the male or vagina, and penis in the male and vagina and cervix in the female. That means here the condoms are of two types that can be used in the male and which can be used in the female. Okay, so use it to cover the penis in the male or vagina and cervix in the female just before coitus, so that the ejaculated semen would not enter into the female reproductive tract. That Nirod is a popular brand of condom for the male. The condoms are very popular because it protects the user from that sexually transmitted diseases as well as AIDS. AIDS is also one of the sexually transmitted disease, and it is disposable, which can be self-inserted and thereby giving privacy to the user. So these properties, that from the beginning I am saying here, the properties are going to be the statement question. Reproductive health more famous for statement questions here. So what are the uses of condoms? It protects the user from STDs and AIDS. It is disposable. It can be self-inserted and then give the privacy to the user. So that is barrier. Let's continue. Let's continue with the barrier. These diagrams also going to be questions in examination. There is the condom for male and this is the condom for female. So the diagram will be given over. You don't find these kind of options below. So that we need to recognize in the options. Okay, some more barriers: diaphragms, cervical caps, and valves. Diaphragms, cervical caps, and valves. These are made up of rubber. Those are inserted into the female reproductive tract to cover the cervix during coitus. The diaphragms made of rubber, those are inserted into the female reproductive tract to cover the cervix during coitus. They block the entry of sperms through the cervix. Diaphragms, cervical caps, valves are going to block the entry of sperm through the cervix. Even they are reusable, like condoms. Next, spermicidal creams, jellies, and foams, which are usually used along with the barriers to increase their contraceptive efficiency. These creams are going to kill the sperms. So that means using along with the Niru, using along with the diaphragms or cervical caps will be that one of the method here. So to be remembered in case of barriers, the barriers include that condom, which in the both in male and female, and next diaphragm, cervical caps, and walls as spermicidal creams, jellies, and foams are said to be barriers. Next, number 3, intrauterine devices. Intrauterine devices. To avoid the confusion, I'm going back. So we are here, natural or traditional method. We are seeing that in natural and traditional method, then after barrier, now we are moving with the number 3, intrauterine devices. In natural or traditional methods, we are seeing the periodic abstinence, withdrawal or coitus interruptus, and lactational amenorrhea. In barrier method, condoms, then cervical caps, diaphragms, and walls, spermicidal creams, jellies, and foams we are seeing. Next, we entered into the intrauterine devices, more productive area, most frequently asked area in NEET examination. Not a bigger questions will get here. So just they'll ask over what is Lippi's loop. It's a natural method or barrier method or IUDs, likewise. Okay, so these are inserted by doctors. Intrauterine devices. Just go through the line. Intrauterine device, a device which is going to be inserted into the uterus. We call intrauterine devices. This may be non-medicated, like Lippi's loop. Lippi's loop is a non-medicated IUD. IUD is nothing but intrauterine device, and it may be copper-releasing IUD. That means the copper is having a property to kill the sperms, to motivate the female neutrophils, macrophages to kill the sperms. So that's why straight away we can say copper can kill sperms. So copper releasing IUD, copper T, copper 7, multi-load 375, they're all going to be inserted into the female uterus. What they do? So they are going to kill by releasing, kill the sperms by releasing sperm, that copper. Hormone releasing IUD. So this IUD will be placed over in the uterus and that release hormone in that way. Okay, so that what are they? That IUDs, Progestasert and LNG20. Progestasert and LNG20. So that IUD is like non-medicated IUD, then copper releasing IUD, then hormone releasing IUD. The copper T, copper 7, multi-load 375 are said to be copper releasing IUDs. Hormone releasing IUDs, Progestasert and LNG20. Hormone releasing IUDs, Progestasert and LNG20. So what is LNG20? That question will be asked. It is a hormone releasing IUD. What is multi-load 375? Copper releasing IUD. Copper T. Why it is T? It is T. That is, this is T actually. This is actually Lippi's loop. But copper T is also going to be similarly look like. That release the copper ions. Okay. So that's it. This is, so what they do exactly, that we need to see here. That what they do exactly. That these IUDs are going to increase the phagocytosis of the sperm. As we have seen in the earlier class, that sperms when they enter, female it feel as a foreign body, it will try to kill some number, but some of them are try that escaped and reached to the fallopian tube. So what here, phagocytosis is going to be increased over. No doubt phagocytosis occurs, but these IUDs increase the phagocytosis within the uterus. And the copper ions released suppress the sperm motility and the fertilizing capacity of the sperms. That is IUDs. So particularly talking about the hormone releasing IUDs, they make the uterus unsuitable for implantation and the cervix hostile to the sperms. That hormone releasing IUDs, function of hormone releasing IUDs, that's going to be the question for us. So just remember this. It makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation and the cervix hostile to the sperms. Next, IUDs are the ideal contraceptives in whom those people who want to delay the pregnancy are those people who want the space between the children, for first kid and second case. So that those who want to make this case that space, the IUDs are going to be the better choice here. Those who want to delay after marriage for 2 to 3 years, so that IUD is going to be the better option. Will be inserted, and whenever they want the children, the IUD will be removed over from the uterus. Then oral contraceptives. Oral administration of the progestogens or progestogen estrogen combination in the form of tablets. Oral administration of progestogen or progestogen and estrogen combination in the form of tablets. This is the fourth method became oral contraceptive. So here, what the particular female do? Female pills are taken daily for 21 days, starting from the first 5 days of menstrual cycle. After a gap of 7 days, during which menstruation occurs, it has to be repeated in the same pattern till the female decides to prevent conception. So that you see the tablets here on the tablet, the date will be seen over. Okay. So what is the 7 days that we need to calculate? Little typical here, but not for us. We learned actually in detail the menstrual cycle. Imagine here it is 1 to 28 days. In 1 to 28 days, pills are taken daily for 21 days. That means how many days we are living? 7 days we are living. So how we are living? 1 to 5th day. Why we should live on 1 to 5th day? That we know that is a menstrual phase. That menstrual flow occurs at the time there is no possibility of secondary oocyte in the fallopian tube. So that's why we start that the female mother starts at 6th day. Okay, leaving that last 2 days. That means 27, 28. Then again these 5 days. Okay, so that means 27, 28 days of last menstrual cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of beginning of menstrual cycle. Okay. The last menstrual cycle means there is no possibility at the time that presence of that secondary oocyte in the fallopian tube. So these 7 days. So starting from the 6th day till 26th day, 21st day. Well, no, 26th day. So the days you calculate, that is nearly 21 days it will come over. Okay. So that means 20, then again she has to stop at 27, 27, 28. Then the date 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 also. Then again she begins on the 6th day. Approximate calculation actually we are doing here. As we already said, the 28 days is going to be much in less female will find the exact 28 day cycle. Okay, so then the pills, okay, that as a theoretical portion we are reading this. So they inhibit ovulation and implantation, as well as alter the quality of cervical mucus. What oral contraceptives can do, that we are showing here, we are going for, that they inhibit ovulation and implantation, as well as they're going to alter the quality of cervical mucus to prevent entry of spams. The pills are very effective with lesser side effects. One of the famous in India, that is Saheli. Saheli is a new oral contraceptive for the female. Actually, as when I said about that 21-day pill, the confusion is there. For even educated people will be confused over for that, isn't it? So that's why this is a good one to say, Saheli. That new oral contraceptive for the female. There is no calculation, there is no dates. That simply a once a week pill we can say. Saheli is a once a week pill with very few side effects and high contraceptive value. So that is one of the new oral contraceptive. It is a non-steroidal preparation. Non-steroidal preparation. These two things you have to remember in Saheli. It is an oral contraceptive. First of all, oral contraceptive, non-steroidal preparation, and once a week pill we give it. It's only one pill in 1 week for every week. Very few side effects and high contraceptive value. These are all the properties of Saheli. Now, number 5, injectables. Injectables, the progestogens alone or in combination with the estrogen. Progestogens alone or in combination with the estrogens are used by females as injections or implants under the skin. That means hormone we are from outside we are giving in the form of these injectables. All these are the injectables here, are like mastic like appearance they have. Their mode of action is similar to that of pills, and their effective periods are much longer. The administration of the progestogens or progestogen estrogen combinations or IUDs within 72 hours of coitus is very effective as emergency contraceptives here, as they avoid possible pregnancy due to rape or casual unprotected intercourse. That administration of progestogen or progestogen and estrogen combinations. Have you seen this? That for as a contraception we are using hormone called progesterone, and as well as estrogen also. Estrogen and progesterone we are using as a contraceptive technique in hormone releasing IUD, and here in the injectables we are using this hormone combination. Not you're getting any doubt here that we said along the length of embryonic development progesterone is must for maintenance of progesterone is very, very important and required for the maintenance of pregnancy. Okay, think here, think you'll get the answer. You'll get the answer. So, what is my question here? Progesterone, we said, a very, very important hormone for 9 months initially produced by corpus luteum, and then after from the fourth month it was undertaken by the placenta. Definitely progesterone is required for 9 months. Progesterone required. The hormone which is very important for the maintenance of pregnancy, how it stops pregnancy, that you need to think. That's what I am talking. So just think about that. Think about that. That if you find answer, just message me. If you find answer, message me. So I think you got my question here. Now the last method, surgical method, sterilization technique we use it to say that to block gamete transport and thereby prevent conception. It is very effective, but reversibility is very poor. That means it's a permanent solution in general. We use it to say the reversibility is comparatively less successful. Vasectomy, with the words you can remember actually. Vasectomy, that remember that word, vast difference. What we do with vas difference? Yeah, we see in the season here, so that that we cut the vas difference. In males, a small part of the vas difference is removed or tied up through a small incision on the scrotum. A small surgery it is. A small incision on the scrotum. That in males, a small part of the vas difference is removed or tied up. I'll show the photographs to you. Tubectomy. Tube. What is the meaning of this tube? Fallopian tube. Ampulla and isthmus we are talking about. Fallopian tube. Okay, so that means you remember like the tube means fallopian tube, vasectomy means vas difference. So that means we'll have a question like vasectomy in male, tubectomy in female. Like that means here what is tubectomy, male or female? Likewise that we can expect questions. So that's why remember I'll ask you to remember like this. Vas difference, tube, fallopian tube. Likewise, what do we do in tubectomy? In female, a small part of the fallopian tube is removed, tied up through a small incision in abdomen or through vagina. Let's see the photograph. This is what we do. Okay, so this photograph came in examination, in medical entrance examination for so many times. What is this they use it to ask? If you remember, this is male reproductive system and this is vas difference, you can recognize simply that as vasectomy. Okay. So what happens here? That's going to be application question here. What is happening? So we have one more question here. That means that the testis is there, seminiferous tubule, and retitestis, vas efferentia, vas difference is there. Vas difference is there, but the sperms can't enter here, isn't it? You see that diagram that you can understand. The sperm's movement is stopped here. Movement of the sperm is stopped, but empty, nothing is going here. But seminal vesicles secrete their fluid. Prostate glands they go for their own fluid the secretion. As we said, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and Cowper gland participate in the formation of semen, isn't it? So during the coitus and intercourse, that semen will be released over, no doubt about that. Semen will be released over, but that is not added with sperms. Why? Because the sperms which are produced here, they can't move at all. Here it is. That movement will be stopped here because the incision happened. Okay, so by the application questions, you have to remember that seminal fluid is there. In vasectomy, there is no much difference. Production of sperm may happen. Production of the sperm may happen, but they can't enter here. And semen will be released over. Release of semen is as usual, but in the semen, there is no sperms. Why? Vasectomy. That you need to understand. In a similar way, let us see the applications in tubectomy also. In case of tubectomy, okay, then this is the ovary, okay, and this is the ampulla ischemic junction. You have to understand, okay, ampulla ischemic junction. Okay, so here, shall I ask question here? There, whether ovulation occurs after this or not in female? Ovulation occurs in female or not? Is it possible or not? Yes or no? I'm not asking full explanation here. You just, last week, the full week, we are in explanation of reproduction and embryonic development. Let us make our application skills. Let us test our own application skills here. So simply I am asking, I will wait here for 2 minutes. Simply I am asking, ovulation occurs or not? If occurs, if you feel ovulation occurs, if you feel the Graafian follicle that go for ovulation and form the corpus luteum, likewise. Okay, so you say yes. I got only one answer. Only one answer I got till the time. Yes, one more. One more answer. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, very good. You said yes. One more answer. That Kusuma, Lasya, Satvik, Divya, Pavani, very good, very good. That our effort on embryonic development and reproductive system is, I feel so it's working. Okay, but it's not over it. We have some more questions here. We have some more questions. Whether secondary oocyte will stay in the fallopian tube or not? See the diagram? Again answer, yes or no. Say whether secondary oocyte, that so-called ovum, we used to say it as ovum, but by finding out, we used to say secondary oocyte with Jonah pellucida and Corona radiata. Whether it stay in fallopian tube or not. Yes, 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 again. Very good. Okay, if these are new S or the earlier S I am looking at? Okay, very good. Okay, next. After the ovulation, we know the yellowish substance is formed in the corpus luteum. Okay, the corpus luteum, which secrete a hormone called progesterone. Corpus luteum secrete a hormone called progesterone. Can this progesterone after the tubectomy, can this progesterone, can it make the thickening of the endometrium layers, which usually do in the menstrual cycle? This is my next question. Can the corpus luteum secreted progesterone, can it go to the uterus and to make the thickening of the endometrium layers? Then again we have two options. We are not working with multiple choice. Yes or no. Corpus luteum formation is no doubt. Ovulation occurs means corpus luteum occurs. Okay. So I do expect answers here. So I am expecting answers. No. I got one answer. No. So I'll wait more. So let me ask the question here. Corpus luteum secreted from the progesterone. After the ovulation, when secondary oocyte is staying here in the fallopian tube, we know the corpus luteum is formed, and the corpus luteum secreted progesterone hormone that has to be reached towards the uterus for the thickening of the endometrium layers. Will it happen or not? I'm getting more no's now. I'm getting more no's now. So, do you know why I'm getting now onwards? This much number of people said no, because of the trick I played here. You see here, a small trick I played, that with a red sketch, I did like this. I did like this. I made this line, isn't it? I'll do it with the same another color. I made a line like this, then started the flooding of no. But this answer is yes. Answer is yes. Okay, so why are that this much flooded over people? Because I said the progesterone hormone, when I shown the path like this, you started answering yes. But we have completed a bigger chapter, chemical control and coordination, isn't it? And we learned there the properties of hormones. We learned the properties of hormones there. That a very basic property of the hormones is hormones transport through the blood. Not like this, isn't it? Hormones are transporting through the blood. Hormone reach every part of the body, and hormone will work only on those parts those who have hormone receptors. The receptor may be present outside or inside. We learned a big story. So that just I played a trick, that's all. But you have to remember that hormone transport to the blood. So our answer is yes. That means if this incision happened here, okay, if incision happened here, what's the matter? If incision happened here, when sperm comes, we are seeing the fertilization. We took 1 hour for fertilization. The various issues will end. Entering to the cervical canal, uterus, then here it can enter. But where is the secondary side? It is there here in fallopian tube, in ampulla ischemic junction. So this incision is to prevent the entry of sperms. That's all. Only that activity is getting stopped over. In case of tubectomy, only that activity is stopped over. Got my point? That means the development of the Graafian follicle, release of secondary oocyte in the fallopian tube, and after the ovulation, that the remaining whatever we say that corpus luteum, there secreted progesterone through the blood, it reaches there, and that increases the endometrium layers, that thickening of the endometrium layer. But here, that 100% guarantee there is no chance of fertilization. So that's why. Why? Because there is this path is broken down. That what you call tubectomy. Okay. So that's why what happens? No fertilization. That's why that secondary oocyte will disintegrate. Corpus luteum will disintegrate and in the form of degenerate in the form of corpus albicans, and the endometrial the layers thickening will come out as the blood. That means menstruation is present. Simply what I am saying. Menstruation is there. In case the tubectomy has done, there is no stopping of menstruation. Further, you have to remember, hormones are not transporting through the ducts. Hormones are transported through the blood. Okay. So no matter. People will do mistake here that by the estimating that the hormones will come like this. Okay, in female, okay, let's talk about the tubectomy as we are discussing now, the applications of tubectomy. In female, a small part of the fallopian tube is removed or tied up through a small incision in abdomen through vagina. Okay, so that to be remembered over. So all these are the 6 methods of this particular contraception, the side effects of the contraceptive methods we have to go. Then after I'll show them back again here, that we'll go with back again, because heading and subheading, making notes is very important here. The contraceptives are anti-natural, so have side effects such as nausea, abdominal pain, breakthrough bleeding, irregular menstrual bleeding, breast cancer. They're all going to be side effects. We are not going to say for every contraceptive technique, these side effects will be applicable. as a common phenomena we went through actually. Okay, so let's take a look back again here. Let's take a look back again, because these headings and subheadings are going to be very important for us. That natural or traditional method, barriers, intrauterine devices, oral contraceptives, injectables, surgical methods, and sterilization. Surgical methods and sterilization. Okay. Then so the first time I'm showing mind map to you, that many memory things you can go through this mind map actually. So how to start the mind map? Mind map, always we need to start from the center. In the center, main heading can be seen out. Okay, it's just like a tree. There's a main stem disease, and all these are the branches. If they have sub branches, that will be shown after this. Okay, so that means the mind map is very effective. It works in case of biology. The subjects no matter to me. So I belongs to biology. That's why mind map is a very effective here. In case in biology, there are so many headings and subheadings. That's why I made this that mind map to uh, the, to take a glance of the chapter in very short period of time. In a short period of time, we can go with the chapter. So just 5 pages, whole chapter in 5 pages. So that's why I am going to say it is a very effective thing. Today we learned need for reproductive health and contraception. That means that 3 pages we have about that. So let's take it out. That how to read along with me. So just go through this. This is the main heading. Need for reproductive health. So I started from here. Okay, that is the first one. WHO. That means we don't write the total information. By looking WHO, we'll understand what is WHO, World Health Organization. So what they say, they are given a proper definition to the reproductive health. What is the proper definition to the reproductive health? That physical, functional, emotional, behavioral, social well-being is called reproductive health. They define. So that means this area is completed. Okay, next. Next, we'll go with, you can move either right hand side clockwise or anti-clockwise, no matter. Then here it is. The family feticide. Family feticide is the biggest problem actually. Family feticide is the biggest problem. That is actually, we're talking about the family feticide, that is because of 3D ultrasound scanning and amniocentesis. So we need to know what is amniocentesis. Amniocentesis. Recently, we are completed that embryonic development. We know what is amnion. This is embryo. Above the embryo, we are seeing amnion, which include amniotic fluid, isn't it? So, in the amniotic fluid, the particular searching for the Bohr bodies. The Bohr bodies, the learn in genetics. What is Bohr body? Presence of Bohr body indicates a female. Absence of Bohr body is a male. That means the cells will be collected from. That means by making syringe, older days technique it is actually that during pregnancy, from the mother, from the future mother, not mother, during pregnancy, that with the injection they'll collect some amniotic fluid. They collect some amniotic fluid, and that fluid, the cells are collected from that fluid. They stain. If they found Bohr body, they declare as female. If they don't found, they don't say that there no Bohr body, they declare as male. Or simply remember amniocentesis is the technique to identify before the birth to recognize that whether the child is male or female. That what do you say, male or female? That we can identify. We can answer. So what is the problem with this? Actually, the amniocentesis is done in the people to know if there are any genetic disorders are present or not. Likewise, for that only we do amniocentesis. But nowadays, you may know that in uneducated, literally uneducated, that some people are with illiterate, educated illiterates. We use it to say. So when they found, in this case, the coming baby that is going to be female child, that they may kill the child. So that what is called female feticide. They do abortion. So that's why. Okay, nowadays amniocentesis is not used. Actually, it was banned long back ago. But nowadays, 3D ultrasound scanning, we can see directly, not bringing cells and staining, is the older days technique here, amniocentesis. Nowadays, by the 3D ultrasound scanning, you can see the baby inside directly. So that is also going to be dangerous nowadays. So that's what we are talking about, female feticide. A female, actually family is going to be female feticide. Okay, so then we have the act here, that prenatal 1994 diagnostic act technique, the regulation act technique here. No diagnostic center, no hospital should reveal the baby whether as a girl child or boy. That cannot be revealed over that, and no hospital should give the suggestion or the performance of abortion. So that is according to the act, it is a punishable treatment here. So that is the story of family feticide. This much story in these two lines. That means when you read the text here, when you come here, you'll find, when you read these lines, you'll understand everything. That's what the specialty of mind map. As we learn now, Janani Suraksha Yojana. So you may understand what is this Janani Suraksha Yojana. Then this is one of the action plan taken by the government. So now moving on. Reproductive and child care, health care programs. So then the prevention of the sex abuse and sex related crime. Oh, okay. I jumped, I think. Wait. Where all the sexually transmitted? We jumped out. Yeah. Okay, then next, the sex education. Sex education in schools. Why? Why? We have answer here. Knowing about the reproductive organs, adolescents and related changes, they should know. And safe hygienic sexual practices, they should know. Sexual transmitted diseases, what are the diseases, how they spread, they should know. So that we say sex education. So this paragraph, the family planning program in 1951 is the one more. That means total page of the text is shown in one page as a mind map. Okay, so that's it. Let's go to the contraception, whatever we learned now. The page, contraception page. Think you should get a little down. Yeah. So here I made some numbers to go in the order that the text order we should go through. So I think we have one more page. Yeah, it is. This is the page from the beginning. So as usual, as I already introduced it to you, this is the main heading: contraception, birth control method. That contraception, birth control method. So how to see this? Let us see today itself. We'll complete the mind map. So that means one item will be completed today. Contraception. Okay. So as we learned already, so it will be helpful for the revision in future times, revision process. So I have to move from where I have to move. That is given here. That numbers I made here. This is the number one, natural method. That means headings made according to the textbook. The first is natural method. In natural method, the words are enough, as I said to you. Words are enough. Periodic abstinence, withdrawal or coitus interruptus, lactational amenorrhea. So periodic abstinence, we made a one keyword, 10 to 17 day. 17th day. In between the time, if there is no coitus, we have all the chances to prevent the contraception. That means to prevent the birth control. We can work on the control method can be applied. Withdrawal or coitus interruptus, ejaculation. Not doing ejaculation. That before ejaculation, remove withdrawal of the penis. Lactational, I said to remember, lactic milk. That means as long as that at least for 6 months, the mother is feeding the young one with milk, so there is no or less possibilities of the menstruation. That is the first method we said. Just headings are enough there actually. Okay. So the second one. Okay. So as I shown the full photograph once, now I am moving with highlighting that particular areas. Okay. So the actually the older paper it is, which we made some 7 8 years back. So that's why it looked a little bit old. Here it is the second one, barrier method. Barrier. So this is the main branch. From the main branch, second heading, barrier method. So as we said earlier, that it may be in the male or it may be in the female. In case of male, the condoms we use to say that is made up of latex sheath, that is a thin rubber sheath, and most famous one is Niro. And female, diaphragm, cervical caps, and walls are said to be. Along with that, we say that spermicidal creams like foams and jellies are also there, which can be used along with that particular diaphragms and cervical caps and walls. Okay. So then number three is the oral contraceptive pills. Oral contraceptive pills. The combination what we use in them is shown here. Progestogen or the progestogen estrogen combination. So first of all, we said about the 21-day pill, starting within first 5 days of menstrual cycle with a gap of 7 days. Okay. So what it will do? Wait. So gone down. Yeah. So what it will do? The contraceptive pill retards the entry of sperms, inhibit the ovulation, and inhibit the implantation. That the releasing the cervical mucus, we inhibit the entry of sperm. Okay. After that, there is some advancement that happened here. Once a week pill, Saheli. That Saheli in that the prepared by wait some color change. Moving on. Prepared by Corey and Lucknow, that non-steroidal oral contraceptivities with very few side effects, the high contraceptive value. Okay, so that is about the oral contraceptive. That is number three. Okay, next number four. Number four. Here it is. IUDs, intrauterine devices. So in this, the first it was shown three headings with their intrauterine devices. First of all, non-medicated IUD, which is lippies loop, and copper releasing IUD like copper T, copper 7, multi-load 375. Hormone releasing IUDs like progesterone and LNG 20. Then after some one more branch is there that to identify the function of them, that promote phagocytosis of the sperm by that by promoting the WBC for neutrophils particularly. The copper releasing IUDs, what they do? Copper ions will suppress the motility and with that viability capacity of the fertilizing sperm. Then make uterus unsuitable for implantation. The cervix become hostile and antagonistic to the sperm. These are all the activities of the IUDs, intrauterine device. So four columns we maintain here. The four branches from IUD. Three are IUD branches, one is the function. Okay, so let me go back to see the full page. Here we manage it here, the total one page. Do you remember our brain is also like this? So that's why our brain will so opt, it feels so when we do this kind of mind map. Our brain is also like the network of neurons. So there is mess in the brain and the page also the mess. That's why they feel so suitable. That's why mind maps are that much famous in the world. So little more left over. That's why I took one more page for contraception. Contraception is a bigger topic actually. So contraception. Let me close the contraception here. So that four is completed. Then now we move with the some more items here. So let's take the contraceptive injections. Contraceptive injections. Depot medroxyprogesterone acetate. The DMPA, we use it to say the contraceptive injection. At least for 3 months, it can prevent the conception. That contraception can be possible here. The conceiving is not possible after taking injection for at least 3 months. Okay, so that is one of the item here. And next, skin patches. That on the skin, we can make patches here. The slowly release estrogen and progestogen into the bloodstream. So skin patches can be applicable. And I have to come here because the surgical method is the last one, anti-clockwise. Not a rule like that. Clack or anti-clack, no matter. I made it like that. So drug releasing implants. Drug releasing implants. So drug releasing implants, it may be single rod or mastic like or insertion under the skin. The properties with a special applicate prevents pregnancy for 3 years. These are the properties. It may be a single rod mastic like that insertion under the skin. It prevents the pregnancy for 3 years. So total information in small words which may mention. Vaginal rings is the one more one. Vaginal rings, it's a flexible plastic ring. What it do? It releases small doses of estrogen and progesterone, which will be inserted into the vagina. Okay. So then the surgical methods. Finally, surgical methods. Vasectomy and tubectomy. So vasectomy, tubectomy. In case of vasectomy, the male, the tubectomy has done in case of a female. So that is the contraception technique. We'll go with some more techniques in the next class here.